Hey guys, so today we're going over a surface level demo inside Local Viking. The first thing that you do once you sign up for the account is you are going to add your Google account into an area where it'll give you the option to click a button, add the email address, password, it'll run the authorization process and start your syncing. Once that's complete, it's going to go ahead and show you all of the locations that are listed here under your locations tab. You'll click on that, you're going to be able to select the location from this area. And then once you've clicked into it, this is the dashboard view for the location. It's going to show you just a basic information here. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see the statistics here that are listed, and you can use this for a month-over-month comparison. So comparing date ranges, things like that. And you can also export all of that information to a CSV. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see the calendar view, and this is for any sort of activity on the account. So if there's posts that are scheduled, photos scheduled, reports generating, as well as scheduled Geogrid searches that are scheduled out, into the future. And also if you've run a manual, show up on that calendar, here in this section too. Scrolling back up, we have the edit section. This is where all of your attributes are listed. You are able to go ahead and edit the time zone, the feed author, and that is for the RSS feed. The preferred address you're able to update. Sometimes Google has two different addresses that are reflecting. You can go ahead and select them from there. Next is for media, and this is pulling in any existing photo that's on your GMB currently. So it's all coming in from Google. It'll show that G. If you want to add a photo, you click on the Add Photo button. You will specify your category, and then you can also have it fall back into additional. So say you added it accidentally into the wrong category, and it gets rejected by Google based off of that. What you can do is have, fall back into additional category enabled. So that way it's still getting published. It's just going into the additional category. To add your photo, you click on the select image. You can upload your own or select from the gallery. And the gallery is royalty free. So you're able to go through here, select a photo. Just keep in mind, Google did release a statement saying they don't favor stock photos anymore. But we've not seen rejections based off of that yet. So just keep, if you would like to use it, it is an option for you. Whether you upload or grab from our gallery, you'll see the current EXIF on this photo. You can also fill it with the recommended, which populate placeholders that are going to pull directly from your GMB and autofill that here for you. That way you don't have to, add that information in there. It's going to cut time frame, the time frame you're, using to manage your GMB. It's going to cut that down just a little bit for you as well. But you're able to also create templates where you can just go ahead and autofill those here. That's an option as well. But you'll scroll down, you'll see the option to add the coordinates for geotagging. So you add the lat long here. Now you can either have it populate and pull from the location itself, or just go ahead and add that yourself, by just adding the lat long independently. After that, click OK and you're good to go. You're also going to be able to schedule this. So say you want to schedule it for a specific day and time, you can go ahead and do so from here. And then keep in mind, it's always posting according to the time zone for that location. And that is across the board, whether it's for traditional posting or for media posting here. But going into traditional posts, you'll also see a timeline view here for everything that's published, pending, failed, done, all of that. You'll click on Add Post. From here, we have 4 different types. So standard, event, offer, and alert. You add your content here, and then we also have the option to regenerate spin tags, which is spinning out different information every time this is scheduling out. You can insert post SERP URL, and that's for daisy chaining, so linking post number 1 with post number 2. You can add the business subdomain or domain URL, sorry about that. You can add that in there, and that's going to be for your GMB website, so it's linking that in there for you. Same situation with the adding photos, so you can go ahead and select image, add EXIF data, and go from there. Scheduling a post, you're able to do so from here as well. And then you can also have this recur. Say I want it to recur once a week. That'll be every 7 days. And then I want it to schedule and maybe fall off after the 5th time. I would just go ahead and enter that information like so, and you are good to go. Hit submit, and it's going to go ahead and either schedule for you or publish immediately, depending on what you selected. Next is for the keyword section. And in Local Viking, we have 2 types of credit systems. We have the keyword credits that replenish monthly with your billing cycle. Those are used in this section and they do not roll over, so it is per month. You'll click on the Add Keywords button. You'll add your content. You can also have the local language, you'll select the different types here. So local for maps, organic desktop, organic mobile. Each of those require 1 credit, so that's where those are going to be used here in this section. You'll also select the check frequency, and that ranges from 48 hours up to 1 month. So it is up to you how aggressively you'd like to be tracking these. We did try to give you enough options, to go through and select that But after that's complete, you'll click on add, and then they are going to populate here. They'll say pending, and then once that's created, they're gonna go ahead and check for you. It'll show when it was last checked and that check frequency, and that is how you add keywords here in this section. Next is for reviews. Now this will pull in any existing review that's on your GMB, so you're able to go through here, check those out, respond from here. Questions and answers are very similar, so if there's an existing question, you can click on that, you can add your response, you can edit or delete your responses. You can also add your own questions and answer those, or if you want to bulk upload. That's going to be a CSV for you, and it could be like a list of commonly asked questions you want to add for potential customers or your current customers, and go from there. Notifications, that's for any sort of edits. So any edit you experienced that wasn't from yourself through your GMB dashboard, it's going to notify you by email or by text. But that is everything for this left side panel. Going up to the top where it says the bulk posting option, what you'll be able to do is from here, there's two options for multi-location media or multi-location traditional posting. Both of them are the exact same setup as the previous ones. They're just going to be grabbing multiple locations from the dropdown, or if you have tags. Now, a tag is going to be multiple locations grouped under one label. So keep in mind you are able to do so. Now, say you have multiple locations per client. You want to label them, who that client or who they belong to. You can do so from the dashboard view for that location. So going back in here, right in this section where it says select tags, that's where you would go ahead and add a tag from here. And then you could just add that, for all of the locations you would like to, so that way they're grouped. The CSV bulk upload is pretty helpful. This is going to allow you to go ahead and schedule for months at a time if you wanted to. We do have a little introduction video here for you to go through if you were unsure of how to add that. Basically what you'll do is you'll click on the view example. It downloads the CSV that you'll want to open into Google Sheets. It's the correct formatting is present there. It's a little less hassle, but you'll go through that, just swap out our information for your own and you are good to go. The view remote IDs button, that is for every location in your account is going to have a unique number attached to it in internal. So what you'll do is you'll grab the number that's here, you're gonna add that into the first column of the CSV, and then you are good to go. It'll post accordingly to those numbers within the software. After that, the next one we'll go into is the Geogrid Search. Now we have two options for this, live grids and schedule grids, and we also now offer a Geogrid widget that can be applied to your website for having a potential customer or potential client reach out, add their information, run a grid. Basically, we have a response that's sent to them once the results are current, they're active. You send some information with that as well, maybe some information about your agency or something like that. But that's for the widgets. Live grids. Okay, so I'm going to show an example here. We're going to do this Mazda dealership here. Okay, so in this case, what the Geogrid Search does, it shows your visibility based on the search term according to your location. So in this case, if I were to click on number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's my location. These are all of the competitors here in this list, here in this list, and then also on the grid where they're showing up. You can grab the lat and long from here, and you could add that into geotagging for your photos. So you're able to, implement that, start geotagging, try to boost your visibility that way as well. This is a demo location. This is not a demo. This is a random location I've selected, so this isn't something we're affiliated with, but this is just in Orange County. Now, I know for sure they're probably not going to be ranking in this outer area just because it's a highly competitive area. There's lots of different dealerships, things like that will play a huge part in the visibility. But to set this up, actually one thing, you have the option for PNG, so downloading a snapshot of all of this information. You could save it for yourself. Say you're running this for a potential or for your client, you could do so from, and send that information to them. You can download a CSV with all of this, all of the dots, all of the lists, coordinates, and everything like that will be included. Delete this as well as copy the link to send it internally to support. I'm going to click on repeat just to run this again for the example. But what you'll do is you have some options here for when you're selecting the business. My GMB is going to give you a list of all the locations in your account that you're currently managing. If you're not managing, you won't be able to select it from that list. Google search is for a non-service area location. So handyman, locksmith, I can't talk today. Wow. Mazda dealership, because it has a physical address. So if you were to type it in, the business name there, and you find it in the drop down here, just select that. It's going to populate here on this grid for you. Next is place ID. You can use that as well. Map URLs for service area businesses. So something like a handyman or a locksmith, something traveling and providing a service. And you'll want to use that specifically for SABs. Now you can use map URL for service area and non-service area locations. So it's up to you how you'd like to be doing that. Next, you'll add your search term and then the grid size. So in addition to the keyword credits, we do have the Geogrid credits. Those ones renew with the billing cycle and they roll over. So you'll never lose the previous month's credits. And they're used here in this section based on the grid size. So a 13 by 13 is what you're seeing here. This is 169 credits that are used on this grid. So there's 169 dots. So one dot is one credit is one coordinate. So just be mindful of that when you are selecting the grid size. The trend in Local Viking seems to be within the 7 by 7 up to like the 9 by 9. Sometimes it's really not necessary to have this 13 by 13. The example I showed you with this dealership, you know how it was red on the outside area. I really didn't need to have a 13 by 13 to show me the results that that were necessary within that little area. I could have used that 9 by 9 search perfectly fine, save some credits, go from there. The calculation for the credits is just the number times itself. So 13 by 13, 169, 7 times 7, 9 by 9 is going to be 81 credits, and so on and so forth. The distance between the dots. So this is really just in between each dot. It's not going to be like the radius around the location or across or something like that. It's just from dot to dot. So that ranges in meters or miles and can go up to a pretty large area. You'll have the option for sticky grid. Now this is going to allow you to drag and drop. So if I grabbed the map, go ahead and drag it, it's going to move my grid. This way I could change my visibility and look elsewhere. You can also have an email sent to you once this is created, and you can also have the local language reflected. That's just, if you added a search term and it's going to reflect, wherever that area is located. Once that's complete, you'll hit search and you're good to go. It'll show up in this section here and show that it's processing, and then it's going to go ahead and just let you see those results. Now, scheduled grids are a little bit different because this one runs on a scheduled basis for weekly or monthly. Now, I'm going to show the example before I walk through the process for setup. So what this will do is it shows you, after you've created it, it'll show just basic information. It'll show whatever search terms you've added here in this dropdown. So after the second interval is triggered, what happens is it creates this timeline for you. So the first time it's just going to look like a real time, like a live grid. No timeline will show up here. After the second time it triggers it, creates this timeline, and every interval moving forward are going to accumulate on this timeline for you. So if I were to slide back through here, this one's been running for a full year now. It was a year on 2/16. That's when we started it in 2020. And I can slide back through here and check out how this has changed visibility. One thing you can also do with this is either run now, so revert it to a live grid, so it's going to run a real-time search without adding an interval, or scheduled, and that will allow you to go ahead and create an interval here on this timeline to run immediately. CSV, same sort of situation. You can go ahead and download all of that information. PNG, same, very similar to live grids. You can download a snapshot. GIF. So you're able to create a GIF. You can either have it loop or not loop. I always use the generate with no loop just because it starts at the initial, ends up at the most recent with all of those intervals in between. I'm going to click on the GIF option. But what this will do is it shows the variation over a period of time. Now this is helpful when you're sending it to a client because they can see when you first started managing to present day. And that's a really great visual to provide them with. And then you can also copy that link and you send it to support so you're unsure of what you're seeing. You can also delete this specific grid here on this timeline. But the setup process is fairly straightforward. You're going to click on New Config and think of it as under one configuration is going to be your GMB. Under one GMB can be multiple search terms. We'll do key. And each search term will have its own timeline accruing. So you'll enter however many you'd like. Just keep in mind that your account size does have a specific number. So if you have, like, let's say, like a starter account, that's going to give you 8,100 Geogrid credits, and that's going to be 46 or 47 13 by 13 size searches. So it's up to you how you are using those. Just be mindful of how many credits you're using each time. That's going to be scheduled for weekly or monthly. So, if I have this 3 by 3 grid, that's going to be 9 credits. So 9, 9, and 9, all depleting at the same time from this number right here. If you were to click on either of those, it will take you to the billing page, which I'm going to show you right now. It's going to show this. If you are the owner of the account, you will always have access to it. But if you are an admin or a team member on the account, you're not going to be able to access the billing page. That's going to be owner privileges only. But what you can do is click on the transaction history for either Geogrid or keyword credits, and you'll be able to see all of the transactions that have been, really for all time. We don't ever delete that. So pretty much what you can do is check those out. You can see what was depleted and where, and for what configuration or what location used them, and go from there. But that's going to be, so 13 by 13, or I'm sorry, 3 by 3 is using those 9 credits for each individually. And then once that's created, you'll click on configs. And from here, you'll be able to see all of the details about it. So this one, this is the configuration I just showed you, but it's going to have this 9 by 9. So it's using 81 credits. It's 1 mile in between each dot. It's running weekly on Sundays. This one is going to shows that it's, this previous was on February 28th. Next one's on March 7th. It's using 81 credits, and there's 60 grids that have accrued for this entire, the year. And now this number is a little bit off because we did add, we've scheduled, we've triggered it to run more times on the timeline versus just letting it go and run on its own schedule. There's one search term, and then that's pretty much providing you with all the information. Like you'll see, up here, there's 1,859 credits that are used on Mondays for this location here, and that's weekly. But that is everything for the Geogrid search. Moving on to reports. So this is where you're able to create a configuration to run either weekly or monthly, and this will send to your client. Now, if you have a pro plan or higher, you're able to white label these reports where it's swapping out, our logo for your own, and that is accessible here in this organizations tab. You'll click on white label settings and you can add whatever you'd like from here. The team member section, I'll just jump into here real quickly, but you'll click on invite team member. You'll add their email address, their name, and assign them a role. Members can access specific locations. Admin can access everything except for both, no owner privileges, so upgrading, downgrading, billing tab, anything like that. You can add their phone number and allowed tags. This is where you're able to add those tags for a specific member. So they can only access whatever locations are grouped under one tag. Or if you wanted to specify like 2 locations that don't have a tag or something like that, you could go ahead and select those from there. At the moment, we do not have a client portal, so you're not able to have a client log in. One thing that you could do if that was something you're interested in is basically just add them as a member with specific locations they can access. But keep in mind, they can access your Geogrid credits and your keyword credits. So they'll be able to run grids as well as add new keywords to their location. So if you're okay with that, obviously you can do so from here. Just, be mindful of that. But going back into reports, when you create the report, you'll select from the drop down here, and this is going to be where you're able to add locations. One thing I did not point out that I'm going to backtrack and do is in the scheduled grids here, if you use the My GMB option, so you're finding your locations in the account that you're managing, if you set up a scheduled grid, you can include them into the reporting section. So it grabs the initial grid that was created and the most recent and pulls it into the report. From here, when you are adding those, you'll click on location, you'll select one of these options, and just to show you real quick, well, I'm not doing that, you'll see, okay, this one is set up, but it does not have a scheduled grid enabled. That doesn't have the My GMB option when this was set up. Now this one here, this one does, and you're able to go through here, and you're able to click on one of these to add the initial with that most recent and go from there. Properties to include, this is pulling from your statistics area in the account. You can also exclude metrics that are intervals of 0 or include metrics that decrease in that reporting period. That's not automatic, so you will be able to enable those if you would like. Data period can be running for week or month, and then comparing. Baseline is whenever you added the location into Local Viking, so it's always comparing to that. So keep in mind, if you set up this location yesterday, say it's brand new yesterday, you enabled it. You set up the report, for baseline, and you want to trigger it manually for today, it's not going to have enough information to provide, so it really won't even be able to run for you unless there's a week interval in between. Schedule, this can be running for weekly or monthly. Notified users, that's like a team member or sub-user on the account, and if there's none present, it's just going to revert to the owner. And then this information here, that is all up to you. That's for your client. And then white label will be selected from the drop-down, and you are good to go. You'll click save, and then it's going to go ahead and schedule that for you to run. Once complete, you're going to go, I'm going to use this, let's check out this. So this is the public URL. Let me check and see if this is a good example. All right, this one's not the best, but this is going to show you white labeled information. It's showing the locations included. It's showing what, any category you've selected, and you can also hover above the different categories to check out Say you're sending this to your client and they're really not sure what they're seeing. They can hover above the different categories to get a better understanding, so that they're really knowledgeable about what they're seeing pretty much from here. Let me go back into one that I believe we have. Here we go. All right, so this is showing, now if you don't select anything or there's intervals, say you've excluded intervals, and this is pretty much what's going to happen if something dipped below 0. You can also see this is where you're showing the comparison, so side by side, the initial with that most recent for this specific, for this report, this is when it was triggered, so the 17th of January, and the most recent was the 31st. But it shows how that's changed during the time frame. Now, this would be helpful to send to your clients so they can get that visual of, oh, okay, well, this is where we were, here we are now, look at this difference. That example is pretty similar just because it's a demo location, but for that one, the PDF version. So the PDF version is very simplistic. That is not the one that I would like to show, but that's okay. The PDF version is going to show, this is an example of metrics that are intervals of 0, so it shows this blank image. You are able to go through and basically, include, exclude those like I mentioned before. But that is pretty much everything for Local Viking for the reporting section. Over here in this dropdown, we do have the Google Accounts tab where you're able to include more Google accounts to import locations. The billing tab, EXIF templates you're able to create. That's for autofilling for EXIF data, when you're adding a photo. You'll just click on create EXIF templates and just fill out this information, so that is preset for you. You're also able to go through here. There's help documents that are listed. And then on our YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel that lists all of our videos. You'll be able to go through and check all of those out and pretty much, just check out some videos from there. There's questions and answers, how to, there's some webinars thrown in there as well. And then we also have free resources that are listed on our website. Tons of free content, so I always highly recommend going through that. It's going to help with strategies or just understanding GMB in general, follow along with certain updates and going from there. But that is everything for the Local Viking demo. I hope this helped. And then if we also have chat support that's available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be down here in this little bubble here for you, so you can go ahead and reach out through there, ask as many questions as you'd like. We are here to help you. But yeah, that's really everything. So I hope this helps somebody, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.